Hi there, salve. This is Evan here, Molendinarius from latinum.org.uk. And in this video, I'm going to have a chat with you about a project that I'm recording at the moment. I'm up to chapter 14, and this is a Hamiltonian text of the Gospel of St. John in English and Latin. Now, the Hamiltonian text is an interesting type of text. What Hamilton did, based on an idea that was first promoted by the English philosopher Locke, was to take a Latin text and to rearrange the word order to some degree so that you could have a running English translation. But the English translation is a very specific type of translation. It's extremely literal, and the goal is to contain as much grammatical information in the English translation as possible, so that the student, while they are reading, two things are going on. Firstly, you can go through a text that you want to read later on without having to use a dictionary to learn all the words in that text. You will see the declensions of the words and have them treated each one as a separate word. Now, this is what our brains do. Our brains don't have tables of declensions in our minds. What appears to happen is that each particular form of a word gets its own little spot in our brains. So the most efficient way of learning Latin isn't to learn these tables, although they're very useful for identification purposes for when you're reading. It does help, is to just read a lot. So what I'm going to do in this video is simply read some of the text to you. Chapter 13, which is one I've already done. I've published this in audio at latinum.org.uk. It's available in two forms. Either you can stream it on the website chapter by chapter, or you can download it in zip files and then put it on your computer, put it on your phone and listen to it offline, etc. So chapter 13, this is how it goes. So I read Latin first, phrase by phrase, and then I read the English. So ante festum diem Paschae, so before festive day of Passover, ante festum diem Paschae, Jesus, sciens, knowing, sciens, quia hora eius, because our of him, quia hora eius, when it came, when it, ut transeat, that he may pass over, ut transeat, ex hoc mundo, out of this world, ex hoc mundo, ad patrem, to Father, ad patrem, and so on. So that gives you a flavor of how this text is structured and how I read it. So I'm not going too fast. I'm going phrase by phrase, Latin, English, Latin, so that even if you are a complete beginner, you can access a text that would normally not be accessible to somebody at the beginning stages of Latin. And of course, it's a very good way to improve and learn vocabulary without having to do flashcards and all this kind of thing. It's much more pleasant to learn your vocabulary in the context of a story, and you're also picking up some grammar as you go along, and you can see what's going on grammatically with the Latin. So that's that. Hamiltonian reader, published in London in the early 1800s, and there are a number of these texts of various types, and this one is in the process of publication. I'm finished chapter 13, about to do chapter 14, and this is available at latinum.org.uk, or you could go to patreon.com/latinum, and you'll find everything there, a complete range of Latin courses for beginners through to advanced, and an enormous amount of support materials, such as this text, which is one of the support materials for the course. Vale, bye.